I'm gonna wait till that thing goes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 26th episode. Of course, we think of Gene Autry, 26th man, of course, of James Squared with James Gonzales here. I'm James Gonzales. You'll be James Melau. How are you today, Melau?
Pretty good. Hey, we got a win today, so I'm great. Finally.
It's amazing how much. I remember somebody mentioning like how much your team will make you feel the next day. And it's just been horrible almost every day. Pretty much this week until you mentioned, on this Thursday here. But please, everybody out there, subscribe, follow Halos in the Infield here on YouTube or on Believe.com, where you find the podcast form of this. Also on X, got to give a shout out to Fernando with the question of the day early in the morning. So check that out on former Twitter. And also on
The Lone
Instagram.
Star Halo.
That's him. Yeah, Instagram and Facebook. Follow all of us on all the social media platforms. You'll be happy you did. Hopefully we'll have some giveaways soon. I do have to mention the autograph signings going on with Ben Joyce. Will be at Mezzo at this Saturday at Mezzo Calzones. I think it's at 10 or 11, but get there like 9:50 because there's probably a line out the door for that, and you know that. So yeah, talk about Mezzo Calzone. Stay there and join Todd Fox, during the game there, pre-game, post-game. I think he'll be there Saturday. Hopefully I will too. We'll see. And then mention Heedy Halos in the Infield for 15% off there. Go to Noble Ale Works. You can park over there for free and walk into the game. Go by Mezzo first, of course. And ask for Halos in the Infield, and you'll get a discount on some drinks, some beers there. Great combo there for your food and drink. Also, go to 714 Tickets.
714 Tickets. 714 Tickets. You can call today and go tonight.
And head over to the website, 714tickets.com. They got everything. Concerts, sporting events, theater tickets. If there is still theater, I don't know. But lots of things going on. College football's coming back, pro football, women's basketball, the Sparks going down the stretch here. A lot of things. Also, Angel Baseball, Dodger Baseball, Padre Baseball, and wherever in the world you need tickets to, go to 714 Tickets. No hidden fees or anything like that. And make sure you put in the code HITI for 10% off. That's a big deal. Then also you save each time. When you buy something, when you make an account with 714 Tickets, you can either put that code in or there's a certain amount every time you spend on 714 Tickets that you get a percentage off of. So it's a really cool thing. And also by Bet Online, it's your number one source for games this season. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds while the games are being played. And when the games are over, head on over to our online casino and get on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind on one of our 150 slot games. Head over to the website today and to get on the action. Don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, all in caps, to get your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, the game starts here. You know what didn't start here, Melau? Winning. Ooh, this road trip has been, like we mentioned in the title here, horrid. I mean, pitiful. And this was happening on the weekend, of course, in Toronto. I mean, Friday night, it just started off really, really poor. Or no, I'm sorry, Thursday. It was a 4-game series, of course, with the Jays. That series felt like forever. They lost 5-3 on that Thursday. You thought, man, I just don't want to get swept. I think we both said they would lose 3 out of 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and
I believe we did.
It was worse. It was worse.
We lost 4 out of 4. Swept.
Clement, just like the other series, hit so well against the Angels. Now Friday stung because the Angels were up 4-0, I believe, at one point, and the Rangers came back eventually to win 5-4. The bullpen just blew it there. That was unfortunate. Back-to-back blast to end it. Barger and Luperfido send.
Who's that guy? Yeah.
I know Ty always mentions the Toronto lineup. I'll tell you what, and I know they played against the Angels, but they have some power in the lineup. It's not just Guerrero Jr. or whomever else. They have these young guys playing well, and Wagner is part of it. Now, to get to Saturday, the Angels lost, of course, 3-1, but it was more about Francis doing his thing. He had a no-hitter, I believe, going into the ninth inning. And I was watching the game very closely. I had the Blue Jays feed on, of course. But Fulmer got the loss there. And, yeah, Francis, he got his 7th win. I mean, he was stellar. Bowden Francis. This dude, again, he owned the Angels in Anaheim, and now he owned them in Toronto. Only gave up one hit, was the home run to Ward. He did walk 3, but struck out 12. He was amazing. So Ward got the home run, and he popped off, I think, after the game. He mentioned, well, Francis's stuff, it wasn't, what do you say? It wasn't that overpowering or something. I'm trying to get the quote up now. But for Ward to say that, and to be the only one who got a hit in that whole game, Taylor Ward on what made Francis so tough. Thank you to Julia Cruz for this on X. I really don't know. Quote, I really don't know, I thought that everything was hittable, maybe to the other guys. He made better pitches. A lot of guys were talking about his split and being on, but personally, I didn't think it was anything special. Shut up, Taylor. I mean, that was awful. And then to only go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's because Taylor Ward, going back to what happened last year when he was hit in the face, he has a real chip on his shoulder when it comes to facing the Toronto Blue Jays. And I think that was a clap back to last year, pretty much. Yeah. And that was like he was telling Blue Jays, his stuff wasn't all that great. He had a 2-run home run.
He literally only gave up that one home run. And I like what happened the next day. The Angels lost 8-2 to get swept. But Chris Bassett in the dugout, meanwhile, Francis was getting interviewed by SN TV, whomever it is in Toronto. He held up a sign saying, 1 hit, 12 strikeouts, not so bad, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I love that by Chris Bassett. But Gossman got the win. Anderson got his 12th loss. And yeah, the Angels were swept out of Canada. It was just awful. And then getting through customs to go down to Detroit, they had Monday off, the 26th.
Right across the river right there. Yeah.
Right. I guess they didn't have to go far, but customs made it feel more, I guess. The Angels, they lost 6-2 on Tuesday to Toronto. Cueto got the loss. He's now 0-2. He just didn't have it that night after a while. That 4th inning, he really, it seemed like got in trouble. And he ended up giving 6 runs and 6 hits. He did strike out 5, though. But I guess it wasn't as bad as a start, but it wasn't good. The next night, the Angels lost 3-2. Canning actually was pretty decent. After the 3rd inning, I should say, he still gave up 3 runs on 5 hits, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts. When you have an abundance of numbers on all those, on all the pitching lines, that's always a bad thing. He gave up the home run to Spencer Torkelson as well, and that was unfortunate. Now, today, or Thursday, the Angels actually shut out the Tigers 3-0. Kohanowitz. I think we have to talk about him a little more. He had another quality start. I think it was his, third or fourth in a row. And today he also faced 5 rookies on Detroit in the lineup today. So thank you for Mark Langston mentioning that. Zach Neto had his home run. He joined the 2020 club. And he joined Jim Fregosi as the only shortstop in franchise history with a 20 home run season. Not Eckstein, not Schofield, not DiSarcina, not I'm trying to think of others, but not Andrelton Simmons or Ibar. You would have thought one of those guys would have a season with 20 home runs, but not to be so. So Neto and Fregosi, the only ones that have 20 at their position. There was a couple of base running errors that I heard too. I think Ward had one in the first, and then Moniak slid off the bag after getting an RBI. It's always unfortunate, Milu, where it feels like they get a run, but something happens. There's always something on the base pass that happens. So with the Angels win, they do take the season series against Detroit 4-3. It broke the 7-game losing streak, like you mentioned. The Halos actually, I heard, have the best bullpen since July or June 17th. And that's just amazing to hear. What was I going to mention? Yeah, and against Toronto, they were swept. They were 0-7 against Toronto all year. Remember, when Toronto came to the Big A, they took all 3 games, and then the Angels went to Toronto and lost all 4. Now, Milu, how can you sum up that road trip?
Wow. Well, terrible. It was each game was. It just didn't seem like we were in it. Even if we had a lead in any one of those games, it just seemed like they were just playing out the schedule, pretty much. They didn't seem very motivated. And a lot of things didn't go the Angels' way. We had some good performances pitching-wise, then we ended up blowing it somehow. They come back. And it was just terrible to see. It's terrible performance. It's like we're packing it in. I guess Ron Washington had a 90-minute meeting with the team about the pitching and the offense, and I guess it didn't do much good because they came out and still lost. So we'll see. They're coming back home. I think they're probably home now.
Yeah.
From Detroit. So we'll see how it goes. These next 3 games against Seattle, we'll see if they turn the corner or not, or they're just basically playing out the schedule for the year. We have coming up on 1 month left of the season, and then it's over for us. 16.5 games back. Terrible. We were only 8.5 2 weeks ago. 2.5 weeks ago, we were 8.5 back. We may be 17 by now, but by the time anybody views this, it's
frustrating.
It's been laughable. And I don't know if it's because they're just kind of going through the motions now. They're not playing for Wash, or they know that the season's pretty much over for them, and they're just like whatever about it. But it's just like you just don't see them. And the younger guys, they're going to go through slumps.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing it with Ohapi now. Shawnee Wells, he's been okay. Neto, he's been still. Zach Neto, he's in the 2020 club for a shortstop. So, first in Angels franchise history. But it's just what happened to the veterans? They're not doing anything.
Mm-mm.
What happened to guys like Pilar,
Drury,
who we're putting him out there? Everybody says, "Why is Drury still playing?" It's because he has a big contract. We have to play him. Wash has
And
to play
Moore's
him.
not up yet.
Yeah. And then Moore went on the IL.
That's right.
And then the pitcher Moore, and then we're
Oh,
waiting
no,
for Christian Moore.
Christian Moore. Yeah,
Christian Moore, yeah. Christian Moore, who knows if we'll see him. I hear he's not hitting breaking balls in Double-A. So he's slowing down. He can hit the fastball, but now he's having trouble with the breaking stuff, which is natural for a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to bring him up too soon. We brought all these guys up too soon, and some of them are reaping the benefits. Like Neto, I think he was ready, obviously, and then Ohapi was ready. We got from the Phillies. He spent some time in the minors before that, but yeah. Anyway, it's just been a terrible road trip, and hopefully some home cooking will do him some good. But I'm not gonna. I don't know.
We mentioned on that road trip, I think the show before, how they did against Kansas City, how they lost 2 out of 3 there. And you thought, man, maybe they'll split with, or maybe get 1 out of 4 against Toronto.
No.
Against Detroit.
It's been very frustrating.
Yeah. I can remember last year, I think it was either on a Wednesday or Thursday, Shohei Ohtani hit a couple of home runs and he pitched very well, and that was a doubleheader against Detroit. That seems so long ago because it was pretty much a year ago. So yeah, you mentioned one thing with Ron Washington before we move on. He mentioned that, and it's something that Todd Fox always mentions on the post-game show, and he calls out the honk saying, oh, we need more pitching. We need more pitching. Well, it's the hitting. And Wash literally said that in an interview where he said, the problem isn't pitching. We have enough of that. It's the hitting. We're not getting enough offense. It's funny to hear that and to hear maybe the honk still mentioning that on, Facebook, wherever. But it's just funny how the manager says that. It's pretty funny to hear that from the guy's mouth. You mentioned the Angels again, 16.5 out of first place, 55-79. Again, the record for losses for the club is 95. It was 1980. And man, I think, like I mentioned, I think in our group chat, I had 93 losses, but it looks like for me, 97. Where do you think they end up loss-wise? Do you think they get to 100, or where do you think?
No, I don't think they get to 100. I think it's going to be in the upper 80s, the lower 90 range. And I think they still have, 6 games against the Chicago White Sox. So
yeah,
those are very winnable games. I'm not going to say they're going to win those games, but it's very winnable. They have over 100 losses right now. So what's the incentive, But, it seems like every team that we go up against and they're struggling, the Angels are their elixir. We're that medicine that
the get-up team.
They get up against the Angels. So any team can beat us at this point. But, yeah, I just think it's going to be – I think we're going to win some games down the stretch here. I don't think we're going to be as terrible. We have some pitching prospects coming up. Bit better pitching, so I hope. I don't want to see them reach the 95 loss or tie the franchise record or even get to 100 losses. I don't think they're going to get to 100 losses. I really do think it's going to be maybe around 88 to 92. But
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Just
take it right
not
now.
100 losses. This is pitiful. I hate talking about this because it's pitiful.
Let's move on.
Sad.
Let's move on. You mentioned the injury news with left-hander Matt Moore. He was placed on the 15-day IL. Ryan Miller, who's already pitched a scoreless inning, was selected from AAA Salt Lake City. Moore said prior to Tuesday's game that he had an MRI on Monday. He plans to get other medical opinions in the day ahead.
Yeah.
That might mean the season for Moore. He departed after throwing 18 pitches on Sunday's loss with the left forearm strain on a 2-2 count to Ernie Clement in that 7th-inning loss against Toronto. He was reevaluated in Detroit. Now, Miller, again, he made his major league debut. He had 1 scoreless inning of work on Tuesday, 28 years of age. And at AAA Salt Lake City, he was 5-1 with a 2.45 ERA. He struck out 61 batters and 14 walks. That's really good stuff. 62 1/3 innings pitched over 34 games, and he has 1 start, by the way. So, maybe you could use Ryan Moore maybe on one of those opener days. I think that would be something cool to see if they get to that. Now, let's get to the series ahead at the Big A. Again, Friday, I think Todd Fox will be there. I'll try to be there Saturday, either at Mezzo. I think, we're going to have a watch party at Mezzo. And Sunday, we'll get to later. But Friday night, we have to mention the schedule at 6:38. That is an Apple TV Plus game. Yikes. For people that want to stream that. The Mariners, we got to talk about them, first of all. They are struggling. They are 5.5 back of the Mariners now? No, 3.5 back. So they gained a little ground on the Astros, I should say. They're 68 and 66. The Astros in first at 71 and 62. 3.5 back, and then 4.5 back for the wild cards. So they need every little game, and they're playing the right team, the Angels. Friday, we'll go through the pitching matchup here. It'll be not Clay Kirby. For the Mariners, it'll be George Kirby going for them. This year, he's 9-10, 3.48 ERA, and 151 strikeouts. Kind of been struggling this year. You really thought that he was going to be a little better on Friday. So this is, like you mentioned, one of those young arms being called up. And I'm going to butcher their last name, but here it goes. Who is this? Left-hander Sam Algihiri. Is already called up, and he'll be starting on Friday. He, again, is the first pitcher born and raised in Italy. And remember, the Angels acquired him on Friday at the trade deadline. So it's great to see. Finally, an Italian, and shout out to Dominic Lorenz.
Hey! Shout out to Dominic Lorenz, his compadre. Hey!
So that's very cool to see that. He'll be going Friday. What my hope is, that he has the upper hand with, the Mariners just seeing his, minor league starts. Usually the pitcher has the upper hand at that. But the Mariners, now with Randy Arozarena, they have a little more power in their lineup. So we'll see what happens. J-Rod is back for them. So they need every game. Saturday, Tyler Anderson will get the start for the Angels, and then for the Mariners, they will go with Brian Wu. He is 6-2 this year. He'll be making his 17th start. Has a 2.05 ERA and 68 strikeouts. I'm kind of surprised he has a winning record, but Tyler Anderson, we'll see if he can keep the ball low and paint the corners like his idol Greg Maddux. We'll see if that happens. Sunday at 1 o'clock. The other 2 games are at 6:38. Sunday, September 1st, finally in September, at 1:07, it'll be Caden Dana getting the start for the Angels, and we'll talk about him pretty soon, the rookie. And then Bryson Miller going for the Mariners. He's 26 years of age. He's 10-7 this year with a 3.23 ERA and 143 strikeouts. I think that's going to be just a pitcher's duel in that game. I really do. We'll see if that happens. And on the Angels roster, no one has a hit against Miller. So, I don't know how this is going to go. My guess, the Angels win 1 out of 3. How do you think this series will go?
I'm with you James, I think they win 1 out of 3. We're going to lose 2 out of 3 to the Mariners because we've been terrible at home. So it's like,
That's true. And then with the established starters coming in for the Mariners, that's good for them. But hopefully, like I mentioned, those rookie starters for the Angels can, surprise people. I think that'd be awesome. Have a good, some great starts from the young guys. Dana and say the last name again of the Friday night pitcher.
Al-Jahiri?
Al-Jahiri.
I think
like
it's
something else.
Al-Jahiri? Yeah.
That sounds like something else from 20 years ago. All right. Al-Jahiri will get the start on Friday, so be sure to come out for those 2 starts. I mean, that's going to be... and then you get the bullpen with Ben Joyce. That's going to be something. All right. So here is something I've been wanting to talk about. I know everybody's been talking about. Taylor Ward, right? Bad player or bad luck? Maybe it's a little bit of both. But what do you think, Milu, about him? Is he washed? Is it a little bit of bad luck? Is he a bad player? There's been interest from other teams for him, but the Angels didn't trade him. What do you think is his flaws, and do you think he'll ever get to the point where, he'll be a pillar of this franchise going forward?
Well, right now, I just think that Ward isn't much of a starter. I think he's kind of more of a bench player. We put him out here all those years, and he can hit homers, but he doesn't hit for average too much. He's like a career maybe 250 hitter. So I don't know. He's just an average outfielder. He's not really an outfielder. He came up as a catcher when the Angels drafted him, and then they converted him to third base, and now he's an outfielder. And I just think, since he's come up, he's had some good years. He's had mostly some down years, and we're seeing now that the Ward that is what he is. He's just an average player. He's not. He'll probably never be an all-star.
Right.
He hits maybe 15 to 18 homers a year. He's not that great of an outfielder. He doesn't have that great of an arm, but he's made some plays when it counted. But he's just an average baseball player. So it's just washed. I don't think I think he has a few good years ahead of him. I just think he's just more of a bench player now, I think. And maybe the Angels should start looking to replace him in some aspect. I heard a nice rumor, a juicy rumor. Somebody was telling me in conversation that Juan Soto may be coming to the Angels at some point.
He would hate it here. He would hate it here.
But we need a left-handed power bat, yeah.
And a left fielder.
And a left fielder. So that wouldn't be too crazy. Already has the money for that if he really wanted to. But I just don't see that happening. But, I think Ward's going to be traded. They tried to get rid of him at the deadline. It didn't work out because nobody wants him right now because his stock is low. But, Pittsburgh wanted him. I don't know why we didn't pull the trigger on that. Maybe
they pulled out. I think they pulled out.
They pulled out because he had that 1 week where he kind of went downhill.
Yeah.
A little bit.
They saw that and said, no.
Right. He starts off great, but overall his skills diminish as the season goes on. So, I don't know what it is.
Milu, you mentioned the career average at 251, 69 home runs, 226 RBIs. OPS career is at 749, and he's only stolen 18 bases. You thought maybe
not very fast.
Yeah. You would have thought maybe he would have have stolen more, but you mentioned being a former catcher like that, drafted in 2015, 26 overall out of Fresno State. So
Yeah, first rounder.
he was supposed to be, like you mentioned, something really well. The issues that I have with him, Milu, and it's just, you can just see it, especially this year
Yeah,
and like many of the years. He has, let me say this, he has the best Aprils and Mays. And then he just falls down so much
disappeared.
after June or after May. He gets injured, he gets hit by a pitch, he runs into a wall or something like that. He's a erratic talent, I would say, and a lucky outfielder. Remember, he caught the ball on his thigh, or he's had some robberies. And then he's very attentive at the plate. You know, he can hit some clutch home runs, but just like Joe Odell in a way, he'll chase the sweepers and sliders and curves that just go outside. You could just see that every time where it's just, it looks like it's in the zone. It looks so tempting, but it just sweeps out.
Right.
And excuse me, Ward has that much of an issue with that. And that's what I've seen, where he just does not adjust. And it's so unfortunate for him not to do that. And maybe time is up. He has, a couple more years left. We'll see what happens. Like we mentioned on Sunday, Caden Dana will be called up. He's ready, or he will be on Friday. But he'll be making his major league debut, or scheduled to, on Sunday at Angel Stadium against Seattle. 20 years of age. He's ranked as #1 prospect and 74th overall by MLB Pipeline. Take that for what it is. That's pretty high for being a #1 prospect. This year, though, he has a 2.52 ERA in the minors with 147 strikeouts and 39 walks. Think about that. Believe he's been in Rocket City, excuse me. In 135 in 2/3 innings. And despite all that, despite being more than 4.5 years younger than his average competition, thank you to MLB for mentioning that. Can you believe that? Dana was taken, of course, in the 11th round. In the 11th round of the 22 draft. I can't believe that. Out of Don Bosco Prep High School out of Ramsey, New Jersey. In 3 seasons in the minor leagues, he's gone 12-12 and 41 starts. But what was it? Ron Washington mentioned about both him and Al Jazeera that they both have good arms. They're supposed to have a little bit of maturity, and we're going to see all of those things this weekend. Think about that. They're so young, these two pitchers, and they're being called up and they're being mentioned as the most mature. That's like a godsend to hear by Wash.
Yeah.
That's really great to hear. Of course, we saw Dana in spring training. We saw Al Jazeera, pitching for, the Phillies.
Red Sox.
Double. Oh, was it Philly? I think it was Phillies, right? Yeah, I think it was
Philly?
Phillies. Yeah, because they traded Estevez to Philadelphia.
That's right. I'm getting my prospects mixed up here. Yeah.
And I want to see those 4 for Luis Garcia, by the way, one day. But my guess, he does pretty well on Sunday, despite facing pretty good guys. Cal Raleigh's pretty good too on Seattle. But man, I can't wait for that game. I don't know if I'll get to go, but I'll be watching for sure. I can't wait to see Caden Dana. But Melau, do you think it's too soon to call him up?
No, I think we got to see what we have. I think this is a perfect opportunity to see what we have this weekend. I think it's more to put some butts in the seats.
That's true.
Because we're not playing for much, and I don't know if there's any giveaways, but I think it's going to be good to see these young guys and see what they have. Why not? We call everybody else up, and these guys are more than ready, I think, as far as facing a big league team right now. And I don't think it's going to ruin their confidence any. I just think the worst that happen is like they go down and work on some things. None of our prospects, if you notice, ever make it to AAA anymore. We just pull them up from the Trash Pandas in Rocket City and just say, here you go. Show us something. And it's I just sure let's do it. What else do we have? Canning? You can't get any worse than the guys that we have now. So why not? Let's see what we have. And I think it's more so to see what we have and put butts in the seats, because we're not really playing for much. That's my opinion. Anyway, I was thinking about that today. I'm like, well, it's like they're marketing it towards the fans. They're I think they just pretty much I don't know. They want to put butts in the seats pretty much. That's my opinion.
I want to see, what pitches the two young guys have. I want to see what they have. I want to see what kind of stuff they have. Hopefully they don't walk as many. We'll see if that's the case. But, yeah, Dana. But when you think about it, after that, who else is there to call up? It's like really nobody. There's Kavadas has already been called up. Nico Kavadas, and he's been up and down, really down. I should say with the hitting.
I think that was too soon to call him up because he hasn't been doing much of anything.
Right.
He did hit his first homer, but I mean, I think he needs some more seasoning. These guys are going to need more seasoning. They're not going to be on the big league. I don't know. Caden Dana is I think the closest prospect we have ready right now, next to Christian Moore, I think.
George Clausen.
And George Clausen. Those three right there. Nelson Rada needs some more seasoning. I don't think they're going to. He may come up late next year.
Yeah.
But Clausen, Dana, and Moore will be seeing next year, most likely. I think Dana is probably going to be in our rotation next year. That's if he does well this weekend.
Yeah, we'll see how he finishes off the year.
Yeah.
Hopefully Nelson Rada is like Ken Griffey Jr. God willing, but I don't think
he has all the tools, but I think he's been making some blunders down in where is he at now? In Rocket City. But I think he's going to be, if he's the real deal, I think he's going to be really good for the Angels. I like what I see. He has a strong arm. He's a good outfielder. We'll see. We do have some young guys. Our farm system is second to worst in the majors, but we do have some young promising guys that could come up and help us, and like, it's not totally doom and gloom. We do have a young core that we're working on, as you know, at the major league level. And now we do have a little bit of a pipeline to hopefully bring up these guys or make some trades, next season, the off season or whenever, so we can bring some real talent in and be able to compete.
Hey, we'll need a lot for sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right.
It's a lot to take in. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how many prospects come up next year and how spring training will be. Again, check out all the shows on Hills in the Infield here on YouTube and also on Believe for the podcast form. Cup of Joe, Lone Star Podcast. What am I missing? Us, of course, at James Squared. And the post-game show with Todd Fox almost every game, I should say, recently. I think his schedule's crazy like ours. Be sure to check out 714 Tickets for all your ticket needs. What was it? Go to Mezzo Calzones, especially Saturday the 31st for the Ben Joyce signing. Shout out to all the sponsors there. And then go to Noble Ale Works and mention Halos in the Infield for drink specials there. From Mezzo, same thing, 50% off. Halos in the Infield. 714
good
ticket.
spot.
Yeah. 714 tickets. Put in that code HEATY, and I think we got everything. So yeah, be sure to catch us on the next episode of James Squared, the 27th. You know who already that is. It's not Willie Frazier or Darren Erstad, but it's one of those. All right, we'll get out of here, but thank you folks for watching. We'll see you next time on James Squared. Later.
And go Halos, baby.